First off, it's just goes right to the heart of everything. It's always compete, and these guys are battling for their playing time, and they're battling. It's a good battle. You asked about Jordan specifically. He's done well. He played really efficiently last year. His numbers and his consistency really showed up, even though he didn't seem right as a regular all the time. So he just opened our eyes in the offseason studies, and so we're just giving him a shot. JPJ's working his tail off, and both those guys are battling. So it just makes us better.
And I guess to reiterate, Pete Carroll, once again talking about competition that was actually from a couple of days ago, but it's very pertinent, as it turns out, seemingly on a daily basis, including today. It is Friday, day 8, or practice 8 of the Raiders training camp. We're going to get all into it and why we're playing a soundbite that was recorded just a couple of days ago. Why is it pertinent today? We're going to get into that in one sec. Just want to welcome everybody once again to Vegas Nation First and 10, your daily go-to for Raider news and analysis, at least through training camp. I'm Vinny Bonsignore. I cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. To my right is Adam Hill. I was just about ready to call you Adam Butler.
I forgot, yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't forget, but I was going to call you Adam Butler because we've been talking a lot about Adam Butler lately. He's the Raiders defensive tackle. This is Adam Hill, the great writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation, my partner here with Vegas Nation. Just before we get into everything, I want to remind everyone that Vegas Nation podcasts, all of them, are brought to you by the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos STN Sports. Okay, so why are we playing a 3-day-old, 4-day-old, something like that, sound clip from Pete Carroll? We'll explain. We've been talking throughout training camp about the competition at center between Jackson Powers Johnson and Jordan Meredith. And they've been alternating day after day after day at center with the starting team and with the second team. Well, that all changed on Thursday when on Jackson Powers Johnson's day to run with the starters at center, he was at right guard with the starting team, and Jordan Meredith was at center. So all of a sudden, now Jackson Powers Johnson's getting some reps at right guard with the starting team. Fast forward to today, Friday, and I was assuming, and I think both of us were, that they were going to run out the same exact offensive line to start team drills today, which would have been Jordan Meredith at center and Jackson Powers Johnson at right guard. But we were wrong, or at least I was wrong. Instead of Jackson Powers Johnson being at right guard, it was Alex Kappa, who Jackson Powers Johnson had replaced on Thursday. Long story short, it's sort of starting to feel like, Jordan Meredith might be getting a firm control over the center job. This was day 3 straight practices, I should say, of him running with the starters at starting center, and it sure feels even more so like Jackson Powers Johnson, for whatever reason, keeps being in a competition for his job. There's been 2 positions that have alternated throughout training camp. One was at center, which involved Jackson Powers Johnson. The other, as we learned today, involved Jackson Powers Johnson, but at right guard. What are we to make of Jackson Powers Johnson, I guess, inability or just lack of, at this point, convincing the Raiders that he should be, just as Dylan Parham, Colton Miller, and DJ Glaze are at their positions, the day in, day out starter?
I don't know, I'm almost more confused now than I was yesterday in terms of where they are. And I almost feel like it's even less certain. Like, almost more now feels like it's a message to Jackson Powers Johnson rather than anything else. Yeah. Of, you're not going to be handed the job. Like, wherever you are, you're going to work for it. And it almost made me feel like he will be the starting center again. I don't know. It's an interesting, it's an interesting dynamic every single day where they're going to be. And certainly, if you were watching practice every day, if you were watching every single snap, you would say that they're leaning toward Jordan Meredith being the starting center, and now Jackson Powers Johnson is in a competition at guard. But I almost think that's reading too much into it too. That it could change at any time. There's still a long way to go here in training camp. And remember, last year, Jackson Powers Johnson wasn't even participating at this point of the season. He played very, very much all season long. So early in camp, we still don't know, but certainly right now it does seem like Jordan Meredith is very much in the mix to be the starting center. No question about that. And that, Jackson Powers Johnson could potentially play guard, and you've got other guys taking reps all over the place on the offensive line. So a lot of competition for sure. But then again, as we said, like, there are spots where there hasn't been any competition at all.
That's what's sticking out to me. Yeah. I can't ignore that, Adam.
Yeah.
I truly can. And this also could be You know, because I'm sure Alex Capa had a conversation with some people and saying, look, I signed here. You know, I'm not saying that this is what happened, but generally speaking, I'm sure there was a conversation of, did I just lose my job or are we still in a competition? And I would imagine, you know, Pete Carroll and Brendan Carroll, his son, who's the offensive line coach, and Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator, assured him that, no, nobody's getting handed a job. You're still very much in this,
right,
and you're going to get a fair opportunity to hold on to the starting job at right guard. And this is not out of respect, but out of respect for fairness, allowing him to continue to get some run with the starters.
Sure. I can assure you one thing, because we did watch a lot of Jackson Powers Johnson and Alex Capa yesterday. We don't have access to the film, so we don't get to watch it back. It's just kind of our, you know, what we see in live time. I will say that Alex Capa did not go out and like win the job back yesterday. Like, it's not like he had a great practice. I actually thought
you're talking about Thursday's practice.
Yeah, Thursday,
as with the second team.
Because today, Friday, as we're talking about this, we should also be clear they were not in pads today.
No pads, right?
Getting ready for the mock game tomorrow at Allegiant Stadium, and don't forget, you can go out there and watch if you're here in Vegas. $5, Raiders.com. Check that out. Goes to the Raiders Foundation. So a good cause. Get out there, and sounds like they're going to go pretty hard. In this mock game. So,
I heard there's going to be quarters. There's going to be a halftime.
They're going to try to reenact like a regular game or simulate a regular game. Although I very much doubt that there's going to be tackling to the ground, but it's going to be pretty close to game conditions out there on the field. So we'll be able to see where they are in that situation. But it's not like Alex Capa went out and like tore the world on fire yesterday
and won the job back.
Won the job back. Like that didn't happen. I didn't think he had a particularly good practice.
No.
Honestly,
I just think that there's a rotation now.
Yeah, for sure.
For at least over the last 2 days, I should say. But I mean, I got to get back to Jackson Powers Johnson here. Dylan Parham has obviously showed the coaching staff up to date, and it is we got to keep in mind of that. No need for any rotation. I got this job. Colton Miller, obviously, that's a given. You write him in at Penn, and DJ Glaze. There's been no rotating going on over at right tackle.
I'll play devil's advocate on this. Who would be the competition? And I guess you could say that you could try Jackson Powers Johnson at left guard with Parham.
There you go.
That could be potentially one of them, but I don't know what the competition would be. Like, who would you put in there that you're like, he's competing for this job? I think it's pretty clear that he's behind.
It felt pretty clear.
Yeah. I'm just
I hear what you're saying.
I'm just trying to point that out of like we're trying to analyze all of these different rotations, everything that's going on, and I don't know who you would put in there to say like there is a real competition here, because I do think Jordan Meredith is a good enough season last year that he's deserving to compete for a job, question.
No question about that. I'll take your devil's advocate and add my devil's advocate. Then why isn't this happening over at left guard?
That'd be the question.
Why isn't Jackson Powers Johnson and why isn't Dylan over there competing with Alex Capa at right guard, and Jackson Powers Johnson is over at left guard? Who knows? Maybe on Monday that's what we'll see.
I would say looking at the first like 5-6 practices, if you were going to say one of the guards is going to be in a competition,
correct,
you would say it's Alex Capa.
There's no doubt about that as well. So a lot of different layers to this, but it would be hard if I was Jackson Powers Johnson. Not to say that I'm being singled out or anything like that, but it would be hard if I was Jackson Powers Johnson not to feel like I've been kind of put on notice.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, for sure. I think you can look around and be like, why are those guys? Why are they not rotating out? Why are they not taking reps? And if you were to say like, hey, don't worry, like you're going to play plenty, we're fine. Don't worry about where you are. And I would still say, if I was him, I'd say the right things publicly, but behind the scenes, I would be saying, what? Why am I the one rotating? Then that doesn't make any sense. Clearly, there is some sort of competition. I mean, there's no question about that. I'm certainly not trying to push back on that. I'm just trying to figure out exactly their mindset as they go through this of what they're doing. And look, they're not going to talk. They're not going to talk about it publicly. When you ask the question, there's competition, right? I mean, there's competition everywhere. There's competition in the building. I think they're probably out there shooting free throws right now. We talked to the kickers the other day. They were having a free throw contest.
Right.
All over practice. Like everything is a competition, and Pete Carroll will stop in and shoot against them, and you got to try to beat them. And Thayer Munford yesterday was talking about the video that went around. He's like, Pete Carroll did not pin me.
Right.
Like it's always a competition.
Right.
Everything is. So everybody's competing, but there are certain spots that there has not been any rotation.
Right. By the way, for those, and I've got this a lot. I'm sure you have too on social media. You're messing with Jackson Powers Johnson. He wants to be the starting center. Blah blah blah. I get that and I understand that, but if I'm Jackson Powers Johnson's agent, or a friend, I would point out Joe Thuney, Zach Martin, Quentin Nelson, and there were a couple of other, Larry Allen. These are guys that played center in college, and some of them started their careers in the NFL at center and went on to have fabulous careers at guard. I would also point out to Jackson Powers Johnson, go look at how much guards make these days compared to centers.
Yeah.
So from I still feel like he's got high-end caliber talent at both positions, but I guess if you were to pick one or the other, and if you're thinking about finances, not a bad deal
I think I'd rather play guard. More responsibility at center, for sure, in terms of the communication, that sort of thing. But and I think he embraces that part of it. He's talked about it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think the money is there at guard, so wouldn't mind playing at guard. Also, like could there potentially be something to, like, Jackson Powers Johnson was very public about, I'm the center now.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it yesterday of
I'm
going to go fly to Miami. But I'm going to welcome Geno Smith as his new starting center.
Yeah.
I'm going to welcome Ashton Genty as his new starting center. Okay, well, you have to earn that. And maybe that's the message that the coaches are sending too. Like, hey, you can publicly proclaim this,
right?
But you're going to earn it on the field, and that could be part of this too. I think that there's many possible reasons why this is happening. One of them could be it's just a genuine, legitimate competition. I think that is the easiest thing to say. There also could be these other things at play.
Worth noting as well, when John Spytek was the assistant general manager in Tampa Bay, they had a chance to draft Jackson Powers Johnson toward the end of the first round in last year's draft. They drafted a center. His name is escaping me anyway, they drafted a center, I believe, earlier in the second round, or maybe, I think it was in the second round, ahead of Jackson Powers Johnson, too. So, you never know what is truly going on. But I'll say this. We keep talking about Jordan Meredith and Jackson Powers Johnson and Will Putman. Yeah. He's also been getting some reps over there at center. But today, in kind of a prominent way, I would say, another player was kind of thrust into the center mix. I wouldn't say center competition just yet, but definitely the center mix in kind of an interesting way, and we're going to find out about that in just 1 second.
This one's for the Vegas locals and Vegas locals only. STN Sports is the sports betting experience built for you. From the app to the 19 convenient locations across the valley to sign up, bet, and watch your favorite games. And with a massive betting menu and daily odds boost, there are tons of ways to get in the action. Sign up today.
Any team I met with, I said I'm a 5-stop shop. Tackle, guard, center, wherever you want to put me. I played tackle all college, and that's the type of player I want to be. I want to be someone that they can lean on me no matter where they need me to be. So same thing, every now and then I'll hop in at tackle during some indie reps if they need me to, or if someone needs a rep. That's the thing they need me at the least right now, but I still want to be available for it, and so nothing's going to be a shock to me. If someone goes down tomorrow and they say, Caleb, we need you to play right tackle, let's ride. Let's do it. And so I really appreciate them continuing to use me in that aspect. It's allowing me to grow, moving from center to guard. You can take those guard mechanics to center, and also playing both of them allows you to understand what each person needs from each other. So when I'm playing center, I'm like, okay, so at guard, I really need to do more of that to help my center. And the same thing, when I'm at guard, I really need to do that to help my center. So same thing.
Get some wide receiver reps in you at all?
Not yet. If they want to throw it to me, I'd love to. So.
All right. Well, I guess Caleb Rogers stole our thunder. That's exactly who we were talking about. As Caleb was the rookie offensive lineman. I'm not even going to call him an offensive guard or a tackle or a center these days, considering everywhere that he's played. But that's Caleb Rogers, the rookie from Texas Tech. By the way, just seems like a great guy, number one. Really on top of things, intellectually and physically and all those good stuff. Fun to talk to is what we're saying. But today, on Friday, Caleb Rogers played a lot at center, got a lot of reps at center. He feels like it's a position that he can play. It's a position of leadership, and he feels certainly wired to be a leader. You just have to talk to him for about 5 minutes to understand that. He's got the size. He's a good athlete. He could play all over the line of scrimmage. He played some center during the Senior Bowl this past January. Prior to that, he had only played tackle, I believe, in college. Might have played a little bit of guard. But what do you make of now Caleb Rogers being thrust into this center mix?
Yeah, I mean, they're exploring all possibilities, right? I mean, I think that's pretty clear, and they're also trying to make sure that they have versatility pretty much all over the field. That's especially on the offensive line. That's certainly a big trait they're looking for. Defensive backfield as well.
Yeah,
they're looking for a lot of guys that are versatile. They want guys that can play everywhere, and that's kind of what you need when you're trying to fill out a roster of guys that can fill in different types of positions. And he's trying to show them that he can play center. They want to make sure that they can see that for sure. And it's a process. And one of the things we talked to him about is just that focusing so much on the snap, but you also have to, then you have to transition and go block somebody. So you can't do those two separate acts, even though they're very distinct and different motions. When you're a center your whole life, that's just part of your second nature. You don't have that when you've played guard, but it's a process that he'll understand and he'll start to figure out. And he talked about starting to figure that out. It's not going to happen in one day.
No,
as you mentioned, he's done it before a little bit. Senior Bowl, the draft process, he did that, but it's different doing this, at this level, trying to remember the play. Remember, we talk about rookies all the time.
Yeah,
understanding the play, hearing the play call. When you're a center, you have to know the snap count, the play call, everything else, and then make sure that I snap it because that's the most important thing. The play doesn't start without it, and then go and do my assignment. So there is a process to go through.
And what was interesting about that is when Alex Kappa was in there, he was making the line calls. I don't know if you saw that, where the pressure, there was one where it worked perfectly, and Geno Smith, they picked up the blitz. It was an all-out blitz basically, and Geno and the offensive line were in tune. Long pass to Jacoby Myers on that play, but I have to go back. We'll get to Caleb in 1 second. Do you think any of this has to do with communication and understanding of the offense and understanding of calling things at the NFL level, that maybe they're a little bit hesitant with Jackson Powers-Johnson right now?
Potentially. Because
that's a big part of it.
As we're talking about, we're throwing out all these different reasons because there is a lot of layers to explore of what is exactly going on, and that's we're trying to figure out as we watch and see. As you said, you mentioned, and you see, all right, Alex Kappa's making the line calls here when certain centers are in there. Mm-hmm. He's obviously a veteran that's been around a lot and understands how to do that, so it makes some sense. A lot of the guys that are playing center, even Jordan Meredith is younger. I mean, he's not a young person necessarily, but he's younger at the position. Caleb Rogers is just learning the position. Jackson Powers-Johnson getting back acclimated to it at the NFL level. He played some last year, obviously, in college. But, the system, new system, all those other things, too. So there's a process all over the place. And I think all of those are going to be factors in who's going to have the job. But the main thing, I think, with all these guys is just having options there. I mean, if you're in the game and you do have – say Jackson Powers-Johnson at center, he goes down, or Jordan Meredith is at center, he goes down, Jackson Powers-Johnson is at guard. Now you need somebody else to play center, or somebody else needs to fill in at guard. You need to be able to make these decisions on a moment's notice, and the more guys that can do the more different things, the better off you're going to be.
I'm just wondering if Jackson Powers-Johnson is at the point where you could take your little options and, it's got to be, not that it's messing with him. I'm trying to put myself in his cleats a little bit, but, again, on notice, singled out, whatever the case might be, it's pretty conspicuous what's going on.
Yeah, even anybody that's played sports in high school, college, you understand this when you're there and you're like, oh, this is my position. Somebody else is taking the reps. Wait, what's going on?
Right.
And maybe it's just to send a message. Maybe it's real competition. All those different things. At all levels, you see the same thing. We talk to players all the time about the fact that they've been doing this since high school. Jacoby Bennett talked yesterday about he's running with the third team, and he said, I did that in high school. I did it in college.
Right.
I understand how it works. You got to earn your way up. You got to earn your reps. It's been the same my whole life playing football, and I think all of us who have played football, you understand the process of it. Sometimes they just want to see somebody. Sometimes they're really taking your job away. You just don't know. But I think it does. It's something that you think about. I'm sure he's going home after practice.
I had a buddy that was in Double A with the San Francisco Giants, and it's spring training, and he got an invite, to spring training, and it was the third baseman Matt Williams. Matt Williams was the third third baseman, and my friend David Patterson, what's up, goes up there to introduce himself. And he's like, hey, Matt, just want to introduce. He goes, I know who you are.
I don't think that went well.
I know who you are. You batted whatever in Double A, Shreveport, wherever it was. And he's like, I was like, oh, man. Yeah. To your point.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. There's competition all the time. Somebody's out there taking your job, and if you take anything for granted, you're putting yourself in a bad spot. All right, so we're going to go to Chuck Esposito over at Station Casinos Sports. He's going to talk about the Last Man Standing program that they got going on. Chuck, take it away, buddy.
So everybody's hearing it right now. College and pro, last man standing, August 1 at all of our properties throughout Station Casinos. We're excited about it. I mean, it's just a fun contest. It's our signature contest. I know there's some bigger contests out there, but for the small investment, you really can have a huge payday. And don't forget, new STN mobile guests right now, up to a $50 bonus. So sign up now. No worry wager, I should say, up to a $50 no worry wager. So get signed up now because football is right around the corner.
So if you haven't had a chance to get the app yet, again, we still have the $50 no worry wager available. What a great time to get in the summer. Get yourself familiar with the app, the auto racing, horse racing, the golf,
Women's
the
softball
MMA. I mean, whatever you're interested in, check out the STN Sports app.
Thanks to Chuck Esposito, and of course, thanks to Station Casinos, STN Sports for all of their support. All right. So in lieu of a real game, which actually is happening, 6 days from now, up in Seattle, the Raiders are going to get on the field at Allegiant Stadium in front of the fans. Again, as Adam talked about, it's an open practice. They're asking for a $5 donation for tickets. It goes to the Raiders charity. They put it to really good use. So I know that they really want the fans out there. A couple things. Number one, I think this is right up Pete Carroll's alley. I think he's going to showcase a couple people.
Yeah.
Might be a long throw to Dante Thornton. Showcasing a Brock Bowers, although he didn't practice today.
Did not practice.
Showcasing an Ashton Genty. But showmanship aside, and I figure Pete, knowing about showmanship and all that, is gonna give the fans what they want to some extent. What are you keying in on tomorrow?
Well, we're going to continue to watch the offensive line
No doubt.
rotations for sure. I'm very intrigued by the defensive back combinations as well.
Yeah.
And, how that's playing out. A lot of the other positions up front, in the front seven, we kind of know what the starters are probably going to look like if the season were to start today. Defensive backfield, I mean, we kind of know, but there has been some interesting rotations that we've been watching. And in particular, I think the second team is where you're really looking for who's getting a lot of those reps with the twos, who's making a push to make the roster.
The rookies, the undrafted free agents.
Those sorts of things.
Like the JT Woods.
Who gets some opportunities, right? JT Woods, who I'm pretty intrigued by and where he has been. We talked a little bit about them trying to make him a corner. He actually spent quite a bit of time on the practice squad last year with the Chargers as a corner.
Gotcha.
Never played.
Right.
So he was kind of working on his skills a little bit. The Raiders, find out about that, bring him over, and he's really been playing corner. He's getting a lot of looks, a lot of reps. So we'll see if that continues. But yeah, I think more. First team we kind of know. Second team, who's filling in those spots, who's getting the most reps. That's kind of what I'll be looking at, and certainly the unveiling of the offense. I think they're gonna go pretty competitive in terms of not knowing what the play calls are. A lot of times in practice, you know what the offense is running, you know what the defense is running. I think they're gonna kind of simulate it in terms of, hey, we're gonna call based on what we see on that offense, and just kind of go at it. So I'm interested to see how that works.
Yep, we will be there to give you the blow-by-blow description of it after the practice. We will have a podcast tomorrow after the mock game. Hope you guys are there. Again, over at Allegiant Stadium. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. $5 donation. You could just go online to Raiders.com. You'll be able to get your tickets there. And we'll talk about it afterwards. Day off on Sunday, and then we'll be back on Monday, which would be game week. Unbelievable to say. We love it. Want to say thank you to Station Casinos, STN Sports. Want to say thank you to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Thanks to Heidi Fang for all the work that she does. Of course, we want to thank you guys, the listeners, the readers. We truly appreciate all of your support. You're why we do what we do. Keep hitting the like button, the subscribe button. I say this all the time, vegasnation.com. It makes a great gift for the Raider friends, for Raider family members. It's a really inexpensive way to be covered wall-to-wall, 24/7 on your Raider news and coverage. So thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your Saturday. Hope to see you over at Allegiant Stadium. Until then, take care.